Imagine automating your AI coding workflows. Let's say you're using something like the BMAD method and you have a chain of agents and commands that you run just to complete a story, and you're doing it manually in Claude Terminal or Codex. And you think, I wonder if there's some sort of orchestration or workflow engine that can automate this chain for me. In this video, we're going into detail on a single BMAD workflow, and we're doing it for a story with the idea of how do we find the branching areas that we can use with a workflow engine or a swarm of agents like Claude Team Agent. I'm Happy Dave. Let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is just start up a new session. I want to do one of the stories in Epic 6. So I've just loaded up BMAD Scrum Master Bob, and I've just got a little action that I've customized called WN, which is for what's next. And it's saying that we're going to work on story 6.5. We've got all the different commands and the workflow I can go through. So I'm just starting a create story on story 6.5. Now the creation of the story by Bob has finished. It's taken about 5 minutes. I've not had anything to do, so I've just been wandering around while I wait for it. So what we can do now is just open up another Claude session. This is the human workflow, of course. And I'm kicking off Bob again. This time we're validating the story that got created over here. We're doing it in a fresh session because I want him to look at it from different angles to how he created it. Don't want him to be influenced by any of the knowledge that he had. So this is a classic workflow where we could just automate the chaining of one after another without me having to sit here and watch it. Now the validation has come up with some recommendations. Some are critical, some are just little things. And what I do is I run it through an advisor just to come up with an answer. What we're going to do is just apply critical issues 1, 2, and 3. And this is with a different agent. I have the Sentinel, who is essentially looking at the output from this window, the output of this window, and then just giving a gap analysis and the correct answer for me so I don't have to read through everything in detail. So with the fixes applied to the story, we can come over to a new window. We're just going to kick off the developer. Now at the moment, we're 20 minutes into the process, and most of that time is just waiting for inference. So there's not a lot of time between each session, but I do have to be waiting around and just watching it. And if I want it to progress with good cadence during the day. So Amelia has finished her job. Now she came up with this blocker, and I said, this is actually your responsibility to solve. So she's in the middle of fixing it at the moment. But one of the things that I noticed was that if you see this H4.5 here and here, you can see that what we're using is the Haiku model, not the Sonnet model, which would have been a smarter thing to do with this workflow. I didn't notice it at the beginning. And this is one of the things I want to solve, is that I want to decide ahead of time which model I want to use with each session, especially a development session where I think Sonnet would have done a better job and may not have come up with this issue. So what I've done is gotten ready with Nate. He's the delivery review. He will check all the work that she's done here. But when we start, we're going to just set the model to Sonnet ahead of time. And I would normally do what I'm about to do, which is just rename the session up front and get ready and just click execute as soon as this is finished. Now Amelia is finished and I've already kicked off Nate, and we can see Nate running over here at the moment. And what this has also highlighted to me is a potential workflow, because we've got some test failures. It's not normal for test failures to be happening with my standard workflows. And normally I might get in here and manually ask it to resolve it or look into it. But this is an area where we might be able to run a conditional workflow in the future. Now, because the test didn't get completed with Amelia, that means that Nate, who does delivery review, and that's not so much looking at tests, but there's a lot of other angles that he looks at where products can fail. He's saying, I can't move forward. So there's this pre-flight check to go, I'm not moving forward until you resolve it. And so he's listed the findings, what's going on, and also some recommendations. We could either go back to the old window for Amelia, but the smart thing to do is to do it in a fresh context. So I've just started a new BMAD dev, develop story 6.5. I'm just going to put in the information that I've copied from Nate, and this is just going to be a revision just to fix those tests. So Amelia, our developer, revision 2 has finished. We've got the tests in place. What I'm doing is just asking her to send over some information to Lisa. That's my librarian. This is where I keep track of any sorts of learnings or patterns. I've already asked the first version of Amelia to do it, and also Nate. I want to understand who was at fault. It seems to be that the issue happened before this story. And when I do get to Lisa, what she'll be able to do is just document this for the future, because that documentation gets loaded in whenever we're creating a story, whenever we're validating or even developing. So hopefully the knowledge will be available in the future. Now down in this terminal, I've got Nate kicked off again. We're doing another delivery review. So now Nate has kicked in. He's done the pre-flight story, which means if the tests are running, then he can do what he needs to do. And that's running 6 different background agents. They're doing things like code review, architecture review, also looking at the quality of the unit tests. And then there's a bunch of different edge case and blind hunter examples where he's trying to look at things from obscure directions with code quality. And this is all designed to uncover the things that a developer might not think about, or a unit tester, when they're checking the quality of the code. So Nate has come back with some findings, and this is going to give us an extra opportunity to have a new workflow idea. And this is that there were some problems that need to be addressed. So what I've done is gone and kicked off a 3rd revision of Amelia, and Amelia is going to take this information and work on it. And all of this is being done in a fresh session. So the 3rd revision in a fresh window has done the patches that are needed. I've just given it back to Nate to check from the same window that he was running before. Everything's passed. Now I've just kicked off a unit acceptance test agent. This is the 8th session that we've run through. It's gotten all the way to the end. And what this actually means is that a bunch of user acceptance tests that a human can run have been created, plus a bunch that can be done automatically by the AI. And these tests are not the same as unit tests. They are for just running in the terminal or running in the website itself. So what we'll do is go from the create story and we'll go to the run the acceptance test agent, and we're going to do it in the same session this time. So running the acceptance tests all worked for autopilot when it got to the manual system, which is where it's just opened up a Playwright MCP, ran through different pages on the site that it needed to test. One of them failed. This information was then transferred over to Amelia. When we ran it one more time, everything came through successfully, including the actual tests that had failed the last time around. That brings us to the end of the video where we've gone through a BMAD workflow for a single epic. In the next video, we're going to use an agent team within Claude Code. We're going to see what it takes to use swarms and tmux and see if a orchestrator can solve the problems that we just had today in a lot more streamlined fashion. I'm Happy Dave. Please like and subscribe. And if you're interested in joining the community, there is a link in the description.